For all the best boxing content, don't forget to like, subscribe, and punch that bell for notifications.
It's an 8-round junior lightweight fight. The judges are Jack Morrell, Paul Barry, Don Terrell, referee Robert Benoit, and in the blue corner, with a record of 24-8 from Memphis, Tennessee, IRA Perry. And in the red corner, with a record of 12-0, from Quincy, Mass, Ryan, the Polish Prince, Kielczweski.
All right, listen up, guys. Let me see your mouthpieces. Okay, got your cups on? All right, 3 things. When I tell you guys to stop, I want you to stop. When I tell you to break, I want you to break, and I want you to break clean. When I tell you to box here, I want you to resume fighting. Now listen, good luck to both of you. I want you to touch gloves and come out fighting at the bell.
Ryan, the tail of the tape for Kielczweski and Terry.
Well, Ira Terry has more KOs than Kielczweski has bouts. So look for him to use that power to slow up the very fast Ryan Kielczweski.
All right, we're ready to go here at the House of Blues. Round 1 of 8, and we're thrilled to have Mickey Ward sitting in with us. Talk about it, Mickey. You're familiar with Ryan Kielczweski. What have you seen so far out of his career?
Ryan's a good fighter. He's a former Nationals runner-up and Golden Glover, and he can fight. I mean, you just have to take his time and work. You can't go damn rush with someone experienced like this.
Well, Ryan Kielczweski in the red and white trunks, he's called the Polish Prince, and he wants to not just win, but entertain. And he's in with a fighter, Ira Terry, who at one point in his career was undefeated and a very, very legitimate prospect of himself. Rated top 10 USA in the amateurs, but he's coming off 6 consecutive opponents. 5 of his last 6 opponents, Ira Terry, were unbeaten. So his matchmakers have done him no favors.
Well, sometimes that can build character. You know, going into a bout against a young, undefeated guy who only have a handful of fights. You have 30-plus fights. Sometimes that can be a character builder. What are you made of? Are you going to allow the young upstart to really dominate you, or are you going to put your foot down and say to yourself, I'm the one that's making tonight?
Well, right now, Ira Terry's standing in the pocket. And Kielczweski showing a little bit of lateral movement.
And Mickey has been in that position a couple of times. They throw a young, undefeated guy in there with you. You had a couple of losses.
Exactly. The guy with the experience, he should just be sitting back, relaxing around, and take him to those deep waters and, get him a little tired and work him.
Nice right hand by Kielczweski. Sorry, Mick.
No problem. Don't get crazy at the beginning. Just take your time.
What was the guy's name? Alfonso Sanchez, was it?
Oh, yeah.
Hot prospect from Mexico, undefeated. He was outboxing Mickey from round 1 to 6. 1 left hook, boom. That was the end of that undefeated record.
Exactly. I don't think I won a second.
I remember when Mickey fought Zab Judah. Zab had about 17, 18 fights. And Zab said, listen, I wanted to quit that fight. He said Mickey hit him in about 8th or 9th round with a left hook to the body.
Yeah, left hook to the body,
Woo!
Yeah, I wish he did get out.
Nice right hand by Terry there. Kielczweski's a high-energy guy. I think you can already see that. A lot of upper body movement. Nice hook right-hand combination by Kielczweski.
And although Terry is muscular up top, his legs are very, very thin.
Nice, neat, creative combination there, starting with a left uppercut by Kielczweski. So he's had flashes here in round 1, scheduled for 8 at House of Blues in Boston, Massachusetts. All right, we begin round 2. Ryan Kielczweski in the red and white trunks, Ira Terry in the black and white trunks. Looks like Terry wants to apply some pressure here.
Well, it appeared the first round, Ira Terry tried to match speed with nice left hook by Ira Terry. It appeared that he tried to match speed with Kielczweski, and Kielczweski just beat him to the punch repeatedly that first round.
And Kielczweski showing some power, but Terry coming right back. And look at Ira Terry forcing Kielczweski back.
Well, Kielczweski said this is the first fight he has had a strength and conditioning coach.
Well, if there's been a criticism of Kielczweski, it's that he's not a big puncher. Right now, he's in a punch-out.
He is, Steve. He's gonna box a little more, I believe. This kid's too crafty. He's a veteran, and he's been through this before. Ryan hasn't, and it will take its toll later in the fight if the fight goes the 8 rounds.
And Mickey, that can be very tricky because you want a young boxer to establish himself and get that respect inside the ring. But at the same time, you don't want him to get crazy and slug with guys.
Exactly, Brian. You don't want him to show that he's there for business, but you don't want him to get too confident.
Well, we mentioned Kielczweski, not a big puncher, but let's keep in mind Ira Terry's been stopped several times in his career, including 5 in a row at one point recently. Pace here in round 2 has been very fast.
This is a very interesting round here. Because Kielczweski has stood up to the power of Ira Terry.
Well, certainly Kielczweski should not have allowed Ira Terry's record to indicate whether it was going to be an easy or a tough fight.
No.
And nobody's better to talk about that than Mickey, because there were a lot of fighters who fought who had shiny records, and you didn't always have a shiny record.
Right, look at Emmanuel Augustus.
Yeah?
One of the better fighters I fought in my life, and his record was probably a little better than 500. So record means nothing. Look at all the guys that he fought that were good, Ira, and that's what it's about. Experience right now.
Well, Mickey's talking about Ira Terry's recent opposition. Carlos Velasquez, 11-0. Michael Perez, 12-0. Michael Farragon, 15-0. And Terry hurt. And here comes Kielczweski letting it all go. Let's see if Kielczweski can finish.
But one thing, I was just about to say, no body shots in there. He just threw a nice right hand to the body. And he hurt Terry.
Looks like he's gonna finish it.
It happened suddenly, but time might run out here on Kielczweski in round 2.
Time did run out on Kielczweski.
All right, let's see if that's exactly what Ryan Kielczweski tries to do here as we begin round 3. We're at the House of Blues in Boston, Massachusetts. Steve Farhad, Brian Adams, and a very special guest, Mickey Ward, Massachusetts' own. And a left hook in round 2 definitely stunned Ira Terry, and he almost got stopped there at the end of the second round. Perhaps only time saved him.
And now look at the temperament of Terry now. He's showing Ryan Kielczweski respect at the start of this round.
Exactly. He should have come out at him and shown him that he isn't hurt. Just to put in his head that I'm not hurt, but he's sitting back and he's waiting. He can't do that.
Well, he just ate a right hand. But Kielczweski right now seemingly taking his time. Maybe paying Terry that respect you talk about, Mickey. You don't want to overcommit against a veteran.
Right, exactly. And, you know, Ryan's fighting a good fight. He's fighting a smart fight. He's not going crazy. He's saving energy for later on in the fight. But
Right
he's got
hand
to
by
be careful.
Terry there.
Right there. He's got to be careful.
Yep.
This kid's not a, he's a sleeper, this kid.
And the difference in the fight right now is that Terry's backing up. And Terry was coming forward the first 2 rounds.
Which can be a little dangerous for Kielczweski because you don't want to walk into a puncher's power.
Exactly.
Do you guys think Terry's recovered yet from that, or from that hurt?
I think he's
Left
still
hook?
a little. I think he's still hurt. He's still buzzing a little bit, maybe, but he seems to get his legs back. But he just has that look in his eyes now that it's not really. You know, he's a little tentative right now.
Yeah, he's a different fighter.
Exactly. He's more in the defense.
Right, certainly he's more in a defensive posture and a defensive mindset. He probably figured, looking at Kielczweski's record, 12 wins, only 2 KOs. And once he saw the young guy can hurt him,
Right.
you know, now it's a different world for him.
Exactly.
Well,
But like we
Kielczweski-
said, he's an experienced fighter, so he can come back.
Kielczweski was wide open there, but Terry missed. And let's keep in mind, right, Kielczweski's only 22 years old. 12-0 with only 2 KOs. And being that he likes and views himself as an entertainer, he'd like nothing more in front of this big crowd here at the House of Blues to score a stoppage.
Exactly. And this would be a great confidence booster for him because he's a really good fighter and he needs a win like this.
Well, what I've noticed thus far is the fact that his output has dropped somewhat. Kielczweski, that is. He hurt Terry in the last round. Now, is he looking for that one shot again, Mickey?
I mean, it seems to look like it now, but you can't do that. You just got to stay busy and work behind that jab, and you got to keep his head moving like he's doing right now. But there you go, good body shot, but he's got to stay busy. He's got to keep this kid on his heels.
There's one punch at a time.
Terry answered that body shot with a right hand. So it was a good comeback round for Terry, only in the sense that he didn't get hurt again.
Exactly, he lasted through and he got his legs back.
All right, we begin round 4 here at the House of Blues. In round 2, Ryan Kielczweski staggered Ira Terry with a left hook, followed up, but ran out of time. Round 3 was relatively quiet. Brian, did you score that second round 10-8 or 10-9?
I did not, 10-9.
Okay.
Yeah, I thought one shot, yeah, he hurt him. He staggered him a little, but I'm in a minority when it comes to giving 10-8 rounds just because somebody get hurt.
Mickey, you
Mick,
like
have you been
10-8
scoring
rounds?
this fight?
Yeah, I got Ryan ahead. Now. But it's tough. I mean, Ryan's ahead, but this kid's the game. What I think what Ryan should be doing is what Ira should be doing is putting pressure on him. Don't give him, he's taking the play. Right now, Ryan's taking the fight over, and Ira keeps moving. So Ira's got to, keep his ground. He's giving him too much credit.
You're right. The goal is always to take confidence away from a young guy, not give it to him.
Exactly, and he's the more experienced fighter, Brian. He should be putting the pressure on.
And Ira Terry, of course, his record speaks for himself in terms of 14 knockouts. He has yet to really establish any body work on Kielczweski, and there's no secret that Kielczweski is a boxer. So you want to work the body of a boxer.
Right, and you can't position yourself, can't get in there if you're moving back so much. You got to set your ground, you got to take some punches to land a body shot. Once you get in there, you got to let it go.
Well, Ira Terry's in retreat now, there's no doubt about that. Mixing lateral movement with a lot of backward movement.
Now, Mickey, talking about body shots, let's just, speak about your career. Is body work, because I was never a big body puncher, is body shot something for you that came automatic or something you worked on repeatedly in the gym?
No, Brian, I worked on it repeatedly in the gym. It's not, I didn't have a body shot, so I kept working on it. I always had one, but I just never really threw it. But the body shot, when you get with a good body shot, Brian, it stays with you pretty much for the whole fight. Don't let nobody tell you different. The next day you feel it.
I tell people the worst thing about a body shot is having to walk on it.
Exactly.
After you get hit, having to move on it.
Exactly, because your legs don't want to, and your breath don't want to.
And right now the crowd trying to push Ryan Kielczweski forward.
Now, the one criticism I do have on Kielczweski, if I was studying him, I would say, you know what? Let him jab at you. Because when he jabs, he lunges in a lot.
You're talking about Terry. When
No,
Terry
I'm talking about Kielczweski.
Kielczweski jabbing.
When Kielczweski jabs, watch him. He lunges in a lot. A lot of his power is on his front foot. Don't move, just head movement. And counter punch with a right hand. You'll catch him every time.
But he's didn't move around too much to do that. He's gonna.
See, watch Kielczweski as he jabs.
We complete 4 here at the House of Blues. We begin round 5. Ira Terry in the black and white trunks. And Ryan Kielczweski, the Polish Prince, from Quincy, Mass, in the red and white trunks. Steve Farhood along with Brian Adams and our special guest, Mickey Ward.
Lowell, Massachusetts legend, Mickey Ward. I first met Mickey in '95 when I fought in Lowell, the Golden Glove Nationals in amateurs.
Yeah, exactly.
And when you talk about the memorable fighters from this area, well, the names Marciano and Hagler are at the top for sure. And Mickey Ward and Tony DeMarco, former welterweight champ, who's here tonight.
Yeah.
He's here with his book tonight. Yep.
Well, Mickey Ward, you mentioned Marciano and Hagler are the big names, but I think Mickey is the most recognizable and likable because Mickey, you can touch Mickey. He's around. He's on the forefront, as they say.
There's a lot of great tradition here. And a right and a left from Kielczweski.
I think the speed of Ira Terry of Kielczweski confused Ira Terry, and then the power surprised him. So now he's in one of those.
He's in a defensive mode.
Right.
Since he get knocked down, it's a different fight. He doesn't want to stay there long enough to land a good shot. He keeps moving. He can't plant his feet properly because he's moving too much. So no power.
And perhaps this is also the mindset of a fighter who's lost his last 6 fights. You know, I think sometimes as a fighter you can forget how to win.
You can. You get in that slump. I lost 3 in a row. I was in a bad slump. It's like you're almost in there going through the motions instead of trying to win. You're trying to win obviously, but you're kind of stale, and you have to get a win and get going again. And but he didn't seem to get going here. But he needs a fight. That's what he's got to do.
Right. You get into that mindset where you're trying to win, but you have to get into a mindset where you're not going to lose. It's a different mindset. If you fight somebody who don't want to lose, he's going to do whatever he can to win that fight.
Exactly. It makes it for a long night if both don't want to lose.
Right. You're in a Toro. You're in a Toro.
But the thing is that's why you got to try to put a hurt on the other guy, and fight. You can't keep moving.
Pair of right hands by Kielczweski. He's trying to pick it up. He's trying to attack. Another right hand by Kielczweski. And a hook. That's the same left hook.
He hurt Ira with that left hook.
And Terry right now wants to hold. Unlike the first time in the fight that Terry was hurt, there's still plenty of time left in this 5th round.
I don't think it'll be too much longer here if he just stays on him.
Yeah, agreed. If he stays right on top of him, going power shots, he can get him out of there.
Well, not a lot of time left. There was very little time left. My mistake. And Ira Terry's going to live to fight another round. Brian, what do you see?
For the last round, Kielczweski got close. Ira Terry covered up. Kielczweski planted through a power left hook. Hit him dead on the chin. He hurt him, and Ira Terry, you can see his face, a bit confused. Should I hold on? Should I try to run?
It's often said that it takes 2 guys to clinch. If one guy wants to hold you, and you don't want to let him hold,
right?
Is he going to hold you?
No, he ain't. You pull your hand out, you back up, you feint. If he's hurt, coming back, you use a lot of feints. Let him fall in, rip that uppercut left hook. Feint him when he's hurt like that.
So you got to move your feet, right?
Everybody's a headhunter. When you're hurt, go to the body. Forget the head. Go to his body. You can't block that.
Irish Mickey Ward's nickname should have been Mexican Mickey Ward. They got it wrong. Where were you born? In Mexico City or
Tijuana?
Did you ever fight in Mexico?
No.
Oh, man, they would have loved you.
I know.
But I'm glad you asked that question, Steve, Mickey, because many fights I've seen Mickey have, he hurt damn near all his opponents to the body, but yet he never got tied up. The body shot guys always went down. They tried to grab him, he never allowed them to.
You just pull your hand out. Keep your distance. Don't get too close. That's what they're gonna hold you.
Well, you know right now Ryan Kielczweski is yearning to finish this fight.
But again, we're sitting here praising Kielczweski. I mean, he's doing a great job here. But just watch him as he jabs. I think that's the weak link. The weak link is his jab. He overextends. Watch, every time he jabs, overextends.
Leans forward a little bit.
Yeah, most of the power's on his front foot. Counter punch, slip counter with that right hand. You'll catch him every single time.
I see that he's overextending, but part of that reason might be that Terry's moving so much, right?
That's true, too.
He's trying to hit a moving target.
But that's why you jab to the chest area. Jab to the body, right, Mick? Jab to the chest.
Yeah, get that distance. Feel where he is.
It's right there. Even when he closed the gap, the jab, he's still overextended. I think this is just a habit of Kielczweski.
Yep.
Well, Ira Terry is certainly providing a moving target. And about once every 3 minutes, Ira Terry lets a right hand go like he just did, as if that's just enough to keep him in the fight. In fact, he really hasn't been in this fight since he got hurt by that left hook in the 2nd round.
Exactly. I mean, you can see if he wanted to sit there and then throw some punches, he could catch him. You know, Brian. I don't know. He's just not standing his ground. For some reason, he just keeps moving, and you're not going to give yourself a chance if you keep moving.
A lack of confidence, and you're right. You have to give yourself a chance.
Big right hand by Kielczweski. He caught Terry with his left hand low. But again, Terry seems like he's capable of using his legs to get away.
Well, it's a combination of that and a combination of Kielczweski not having that devastating power.
Right, you gotta, once you hurt him, I mean, to get to the next, I mean, I'm not saying Ryan's not. Ryan's a great little fighter. But, you know, you have to finish people when you get him hurt like this. You gotta learn how to finish him, and he'll go back and then look at this and he'll learn.
That punch seemed to catch Terry on the shoulder, but that next right hand landed. And now Terry trapped in his own corner. Right hand by Kielczweski. This is about the third time tonight we thought Kielczewski's on the verge of finishing Terry.
Terry's looking at the referee.
And once again, the bell may save Ira Terry, who's running from Ryan Kielczweski. Is there anything to the thing about growing into your body? I mean, can he just become a better puncher because he gets a little older?
I mean, he could, but I honestly believe this is a great fight for him because he's fighting someone experienced, and you know, and he's doing a great job at it. And the thing is, it's going to build confidence for him. The punching power, I believe, you can't teach punching power. You can't get it. You either have it or you don't. You can lift all the weight you want, but I think either you have it, but it's to turn your body a certain way too, Steve. So he could, you know. Speed is power, and I think that's what the main thing is your speed. Power comes with speed, so you don't have to be a big power puncher. You just pile up those points, and that's it.
Well, we had a little delay to the start of round 7. They couldn't find the mouthpiece of Kielczweski. Ooh, there's a right hand by Terry. The best and only punch. He's landed in a while, and all of a sudden, Terry's fighting. And it's
Kielczweski that's holding on.
Series of right hands by Terry with Kielczweski the one holding. Is Kielczweski a little buzzed here?
Yeah, I think he's a little hurt.
It happened so suddenly because Terry just hasn't been throwing any punches.
Like I said, he's not giving himself a chance. He's moving too much.
Well, I think it took him about 4 or 5 rounds to realize he was here for a fight. Ira Terry, that is.
You're right.
Now he's back to the posture of unsure what to do. Don't tell me he punched himself out with that 10-punch combination he threw.
Ira Terry's been 8 rounds a few times. Kielczewski's been 8 rounds the last 3 fights.
Well, you know Kielczewski's going to go rounds. He trains for that.
Both these guys accustomed to the distance.
Right, Ryan trains hard. He's a hard trainer. He kills himself in the gym, and this is what pulls him through. But he's got to keep those hands up, because he's fighting a veteran that's been there. So, and this kid can take a punch. So, this kid's gonna stretch him out 8 rounds, I believe.
Boy, if you're in Ira Terry's corner, this is infuriating because he opened this 7th round with a little bit of verve, a little bit of energy, and he stung his guy, and he hasn't thrown a punch since.
Exactly, that's the thing. The veteran had the young fighter hurt, and he let him go. You can't do that.
They trade right hands there. But again, it's a tentative Ira Terry.
Nice 1-2 by Ira Terry.
And you could see as he threw that 1-2, Ira Terry's got good hand speed. You know, he's a good athlete. And if he had been moved differently and not thrown in with undefeated fighter after the other, he might have become a pretty good fighter. Instead, he's a young trial horse at 25 years old.
Yep. When he has the tools, he just let his hands go.
Well, he missed there. Kielczweski showing some good defense.
And you can see the look on Ira Terry's face. He sees some of the shots that he want to throw. He's just not pulling the trigger.
Exactly. The thing is, it's really hot up there, and you know, it's so different when you're in there because you know under those lights and stuff. You know, Brian, it's you know, it's tough, and Ira's got to put the pressure on him.
And we begin the 8th and final round here at the House of Blues in Boston. Ira Terry got stung badly by a left hook in round 2. Got hurt again later in the fight. Been fighting in retreat, then every once in a while, He's shown a little bit of life. Come back, and he hurt Kielczweski in round 7. Brian, how do you have it?
I have a 7 rounds to none for in favor of the Polish Prince.
Polish Prince lands a nice right hand there. And another.
And it's the last round, so I have to make mention of this. Because he don't have that one punch equalizer, it's important for Kielczweski to have character and have some type of style inside the ring. He talks a lot. He's charismatic, comes to the ring with sunglasses. Some people can say that's too brass for a young guy. What do you think, Nick?
Right
I
hand
mean,
by Kielczweski.
that's not my style, but I think Ryan, if he backs it up, then he can do it, you know. But he's doing good now, but that's just not my style. But everybody's different. And,
Right.
you know, he's got to go out there and prove himself each time out, and time will tell. You know,
And you make a good point because he has to back it up every single fight. In the first fight, he don't back it up.
then they're
Will
gonna
that
say,
break
I told
him?
you.
Right.
Exactly. Could break him mentally.
Right.
Wow, we almost had Ira Terry fall into the lap of the Massachusetts State Athletic Commission there. It's a little bit of an odd setup here because we're on a stage at the House of Blues. So there's really no ring apron to speak of.
And I'm just looking at both corners. Ryan Kielczweski corner, very animated, yelling. Ira Terry corner, just watching the fight.
Right. You see Ryan's dad saying, keep your hands up, and that's what he's got to do because he's got the fight won. Just don't get careless.
Kielczweski trying to load up on some power shots, but Ira Terry's movement just won't permit it. Even the referee's getting in the way here because Terry's moving laterally so quickly.
And one thing is Kielczweski does not go into a safe mode. He's still in there trying to inflict some hurt on Terry.
I think this is the perfect fight for Ryan Kielczweski, fighting a veteran that can take a punch and can give a punch. Not a big puncher, but he punches well. And it's a big confidence booster for Ryan. He's doing a tremendous job.
Nice right hand by Kielczweski. He wants to finish strong here. Probably not going to get the KO that he wants. Good left hook. Terry's hands dropping a little bit, but we're very late in the last round of this fight. Body shots by Kielczweski. We haven't seen much of that. He's Mickey Warding him a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. That's what he's got to do.
And who knows, maybe if we saw more of those body shots, but it's tough to hit a guy to the body when he's moving that much.
Judge Don Trella, 79-73. Judge Paul Barry, 79-73. Judge Jack Morrell, 79-73. Unanimous decision. And the winner, in the red corner, Ryan, the Polish Prince, Kielczweski.